Nadine with DIY Sweets. Today I'm going to show you how to make dessert crepes. We're going to make some raspberry cream crepes. The first thing we need to do to make our raspberry cream crepes is to make our pastry cream filling that goes inside the crepe. We're going to put some egg yolks into the bowl, and then we're just going to whisk them up. We're now going to set this aside, and we're ready to start cooking the filling. So over medium heat, I want to put in my sugar, my cornstarch and salt, and my milk. I want to whisk this together. Okay, now that I have that all whisked together, I just want to take a spoon and I want to stir this. And I want to continue stirring this and heating it until it begins to thicken. And that will take about 5 minutes. We'll be back to show you what we do after this is thickened in about 5 minutes. This is thickened quite nicely. What we're going to do is we're going to pour about 1/3 of this into our egg mixture. And we want to be whisking it as we pour it. So we're just going to put just a little bit in. We don't want to cook the eggs, so we just want a little bit in to get it all mixed up. And this helps to bring the temperature of this up a little bit, and then we don't get the cooked eggs when we bring it into there. What we're going to do now is we're going to dump all of this back into here. I want to dump it quickly. And I want to whisk this. And we're going to just heat it for 1 more minute. You'll notice this is already quite thick and lovely and rich. All right, we've got that all mixed up now. What we're going to do is we're going to pour this mixture back into our bowl. And then we're going to put our vanilla into it. And we want to just stir that till the vanilla is all the way in. Now the thing about a custard pudding is it gets a film on it really quick. What we're going to do now that we have that vanilla in, we're going to take this plastic wrap and we are going to put it first over the bowl, and then we want to bring it down so that it is actually touching the custard. The reason why we want to do this is we don't want that custard to get a film. We're going to have that in the fridge for 1 or 2 hours. At that point, we'll bring it out, we'll mix up the whipped cream, combine them together, and then our pastry filling will be ready for the inside of the crepes. Meet you back in a couple hours. The custard part has been sitting in the fridge for about an hour, hour and a half. We've now taken it out and we're ready to mix up the whipped cream that we're going to add to that custard part. We're going to pour the 1/2 cup of whipped cream into our bowl. And then all we're going to do, start it up low. We don't want to splash it all over. And we're just going to beat this until it forms soft beads. As you'll notice, it is starting to thicken up. It is not quite holding a peak yet, so we're going to mix it a little bit more. You will notice that is now holding a peak. We're going to take our custard now, remove that plastic wrap, and we're going to very gently fold our whipped cream into our custard base pudding so that it becomes light. We're just going to fold it. Carefully fold it in. We're not doing a vigorous stir. We're just folding it in. When we fold it in, we kind of take it from the bottom to the top. And we want to get it so it all looks the same color. There you have that filling that's going to go into our crepe. We're just going to put this in the fridge again. This time I'm just going to cover it with the lid. And this is ready for when we have the crepes and we're ready to fill the crepes. We're ready to do the crepes now. First we want to mix the eggs and the flour. I'm going to break up the eggs before I add the flour to it. I have sifted this flour before putting it in. That's just a really good practice to always sift your dry ingredients unless the recipe says otherwise. Now I'm just going to whisk this until they are mixed in well. Now we're going to gradually add the milk and water. I combine them into the same cup. And as we whisk this, we're going to slowly get this lumpy batter to become smooth. That's one reason we're adding it in gradually, so that we can get the batter to be smooth and not lumpy. We don't want any lumps in our crepes. That's why we're using a whisk. That helps get the lumps out. Notice we're now getting a nice, smooth, thin batter. The last thing we want to add to this is our butter and salt. And I've already added the salt to the butter after I melted it. And then we're just going to whisk that together. Now that looks really smooth and it looks like it's ready. The one thing it's really good to do with crepes though is to strain it. We want to make sure there's absolutely no lumps in our batter, so we want to strain this batter. I have my strainer in the bowl and I'm just going to pour my batter into that strainer and let it strain through. I didn't pour it all in because I don't know if the bowl down here will hold it all. Notice there is some lumps there, so it was a good thing we did that. I'm going to strain some more through. This way we know that all of the crepes that we're going to cook are going to be without lumps. I have my frying pan here and I'm going to heat this to a medium-high heat. I'm going to take this paper towel, put just a little bit of butter on it, and I'm going to just rub it on the bottom here. That is all the more oil that it needs. I then want about 1/4 cup of my crepe batter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this crepe batter into the pan. And then I'm going to swirl the pan to make it fill the bottom. So I just dump that in the center. And then I just swirl this around to get it to fill the bottom. We're just going to let this cook now for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now this is a crepe turner. This is the spatula that you use. If you don't have one like this, you can use a pancake turner to get down underneath. what you've seen in the movies though. You are not going to flip this by flipping the pan. You'll notice it's starting to curl up on the edges. That's how we know it's ready. What we're going to do is we just want to get under it and flip it over. And then we want to cook it on this side for another minute to 2 minutes. Now this did not brown as much as you usually want it to brown. That tells me my pan probably was not hot enough, because it did cook the length of time that it was supposed to cook. So let me just flip this back over. You see on that side, it did brown like it was supposed to. It's not supposed to be a solid brown. It's just supposed to have kind of that cobwebby and spotted brown. Let's go ahead and take this one out and put it on a plate. And then we're going to take our paper towel again and just quickly butter and put another 1/4 cup in. And then you would just keep doing this until you have your crepes. Not going to be perfectly round, but they're still going to taste well. Now the second one, while it's not as round as the other one, you notice it browned perfectly. That's what we're looking for, is that spider web look. We're going to let that cook on the second side and we'll continue cooking. We're ready to make the chocolate sauce now. All we do to make the chocolate sauce is we combine the butter and the chocolate and then a splash of the heavy cream. And we just melt this at kind of a medium-low temperature. I haven't added the cream yet because I want to see just how thick this is once the butter and the chocolate are melted together. And then after that I will add just a little bit of cream to it. You can see this is really, really thick. So I'm going to add just a little bit of cream. Start with that amount. And I can add more if I need to. But let's see how that amount of cream and this butter and chocolate, how it does. You can see it's pretty much melting down. A little bit of cream here I need to stir in. And as you can see, looking at this, it's still really, really thick, even though it's melted. So I am going to add just a little bit more cream and mix it in. We do want this to pretty much be pourable because we're going to pour it on top of our crepes. So now you'll notice when I spoon this up like that, it's pretty runny. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more cream. So I really want it to be smooth. Just mix that in. And then I'm going to keep this on a low heat just to keep it warm because I don't want it to harden up on me while we assemble our crepes. So meet me back over at the counter and we're ready to put our crepes together. And I'm going to stick this crepe down here and I'm just going to look and see if there's anything I need to break off. Then what I want to do is I'm going to spoon some of this filling into the center of my crepe. You can decide how much you want to put in. And then I'm going to put some raspberries down the center of the crepes. Then I want to actually take this and roll it. And this is why it doesn't have to be perfectly round, because no one can see most of it. So now you see I have one of them rolled. And let me do another one. Just going to take this, put it here, And I'm thinking after doing that first one, what I want to do is I'm going to put it more off to this side, so that when it rolls, it will be more the way I want it. Now I'm going to just put some raspberries in there, and now I'm ready to roll it from one end to the other and put it on the plate. This plate, except for the chocolate syrup and the whipped cream, is ready. So let me get the next one ready. Now this one, when I was cooking it, that curled up a little bit. So I'm going to want to start rolling from that end. And I'm just going to break off some of these edges. Put my filling in here. Put some raspberries in here. And you know, when you're making crepes, you can pretty much put anything you want in there. There is no right or wrong. Always make sure the seam's on the bottom. And let's get one more crepe. Get some more cream on that crepe. Get some raspberries on it. This is looking so good. I've got my chocolate sauce here, and I put it in a cup so that I can just kind of pour it over the top. And you can decide how much you want. And then for convenience sake, I just bought me a can of the whipping cream that you just squirt on. And I'm just going to put a dab there and there. And then all we're going to do is stick one raspberry on top of each dab. And there we have our crepes all ready to serve.